All right, welcome to a brand new day. Welcome to VOP this morning. It's a beautiful day. And of course, we'll be looking at some stories that are of concern to Nigerians. Well, I am Moses Humphrey, and I have my colleagues with me, of course.
I am Fina Okechukwu. Good morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning to you, Lagos, Nigeria, and beyond. I am David Edwin. What a beautiful morning it is. And gentlemen, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning. All right, Nigerians are speaking out, and some would say the naira is appreciating against the dollar, gradually gaining momentum. The naira actually closed at 1,419 to the dollar yesterday. You see what I did there? Well, it was 1,419 naira to a dollar. Oh well. Oh well. Let's look at some stories that we'll be sharing with you this morning, David.
I'm just trying to lay a hold on it, but...
Okay, so we're looking at Senate to increase customs revenue target.
And Niger residents marched to the street over hardship. These are the stories on our radar this morning. But before we get into the discussion, we encourage you to click on the subscribe button. On YouTube, we are at Voice of the People TV, and on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live.
And of course, we have with us in the studio Lawale Kundayo. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, he's an educationist. He's also a farmer and a public affairs commentator. Now, together, we'll be delving into the papers, looking at stories that made it to the cover pages of some newspapers. Fina, if you're ready, let's go.
All right. The first one to look at today is the Punch newspaper. Okay, on top of the nameplate, we have a story that says Senate to raise customs a 5 trillion naira revenue target. And then we have another story still on top of the nameplate. That's a window story that says Tinubu Abiodun mourns as Jimmy Solanke dies at 81.
Jimmy Solanke, the poet, Storyland narrator.
Yeah.
It was, you know, the concomitants of old age.
Old age, yeah.
These things.
At 81.
81,
yes.
yes.
81. It's a great loss to the Theatre Association. I don't think anyone told stories better than he did.
Oh, well, you can say that again, because growing up, he was one of those people that some of us just looked
Looked up to, yeah.
And the stories are very inspiring.
Wow.
To the point where you want to tell yourself, okay, it's
You have to
best
be a good
I
boy.
be a good.
Good to be a
why
good
he's
boy.
not giving a national award.
Wasn't he
No,
given
he was
something?
given.
Well, we'll look up that one.
Well, yeah, surely.
Well,
For everyone actually to recognize him now that his late shows and maybe he's a big figure, you know, when he's alive. So, okay, we have another
okay, you
story.
didn't get to listen to him.
No, really, I didn't.
Please
Please don't say that again. All right, we have another story that says this is the lead headline, says Nigerians seek relief as states get 3.3 trillion allocations. And we have a writer that says protesters lament rising inflation, governors rally for FG to avert food crisis. And another writer says the state and local government receives 3.3 trillion July to December, quality of life degenerating, residents says. And we have a picture that says cancer. In this picture, we have the picture of Charles, King Charles III, and we have that of Sunak and even Biden. And these are world leaders sympathizing with King Charles. We were told that he has cancer and he's been battling with that. I wonder if Nigerian or African governments will come up open to say, okay, this is what we're having. Exactly, so that we'll send our
we
prayers
just need to understand that as humans, people can fall sick. The body will protest after a while. It's just normal. The King of England was diagnosed of having benign prostate. Now, while that was being treated, cancer, a type of cancer, was discovered, even though they haven't told the world what type of cancer. But at least taxpayers in England now know that this is what the king is having to deal with.
Yeah.
And they will pray for him. But then back home in Nigeria, our leaders, or rulers, as some people would rather want to call them, fall sick and travel around the world, keeping the people in complete darkness as to what they're having to deal with. Meanwhile, probably some people might just pray for them and wish them quick recovery if they knew what they were dealing with. But I guess, come on. In fact, in Africa, if you want to travel abroad for whatever reason, you want to relocate, you don't tell anybody because you don't want.
Hey Moses, what's up?
Why
You don't want the witches and wizards to
VPs to come after you.
to chase you all over the place.
But it's quite alarming, really, that we have to consistently look at it from that angle. I mean, we're so
Paranoid.
We're just paranoid. Yes.
And another thing
the
is
word.
this: when you are a political office holder, automatically you don't belong to yourself. You belong to the public.
Exactly.
Because the public pays you. It's like you are working for a boss. Your boss. You left office. I didn't know where you went to. You must inform your boss where you are going. So the people who employ them. So they answer to the people. Everything that has to do with their work, their office, is answerable to the people. So if you are flying out, if you have health issue, you are going on leave, the public must be duly
I just smiled
informed.
at the fact that he said the people employed them, and that sounded in my head like, okay.
Did the people really employ them? That's another question. Well, let's get on to some of the dailies now.
All right.
Well, you may just want to respond to a few other headlines from the paper.
Yes, the issue of I'm always concerned about that thing is really affecting the development of this country. This sharing of revenue allocation, it doesn't encourage development whatsoever. You know, because you see many offices across, they are not really doing anything and they get allocation. They don't encourage any development in their local government, they get allocation. And when they get the allocation, they share it. And everybody go back to their various homes, waiting for another allocation. If there's resource control in that local government, everybody will be on their toes, because the moment you are not doing anything in your local government, you will not get money to pay your staff. But this one, you see, everybody will just, even in the states.
So who's supposed to checkmate them? Who's supposed to checkmate them? For instance, just mention the local government. Who's supposed to checkmate them if they're not doing anything?
The legislatures. Is the assembly.
Okay.
See, the assembly, that assembly is the major, because they are not really thinking about all this. Because they too, they get allocations.
But you know, some states actually, they don't really have local government chairpersons there. All they have actually is caretaker committees.
That's it.
And that is most of them are fighting for the autonomy that they granted them now. So who is going to do the checkmating? How are they going to do it?
It's
when
not,
people wake up and appoint who they want to be.
if you have autonomy, you are answerable. You are totally responsible for everything you do. When you have the autonomy, you are totally responsible. So ESA can go after you, the police can. In fact, the people will be monitoring you. But if you don't have autonomy, you have somebody to blame. That is it, because that's why you have this blaming game. The state government has not given us our allocation. They gave us a little out of our allocation. Even the state will cut back. The state are supposed to monitor the local government, will have cut part of the allocation and kept it. So if you have kept part of the allocation, how will you now say that monitor them? They will of course say that you only gave us 50% of the allocation. The remaining 50%, what did you do with it? If you give it to us, what to do? And you will keep quiet because you have already used their allocation.
So what should the people do at this time? Because in the end, it still falls back to the masses. What should they do at this time?
You mean when they are still doing
when there is no development in the local government?
Because the local government has somebody to blame. There's nothing. If the ESA come along, you want to problem, they have somebody to blame. They have somebody to call, because they will tell them the amount they gave us was not the amount that was allocated to us. So who are you going to go after? They will tell you that they gave us when late. They gave us late. We wanted to use this thing in March. They gave it to us. The governor released it to us in June.
So does it mean that the three-tier of government you think we have in Nigeria is not really functional? Is it only two-tier that we have? Because, growing up, we were told that we have three tiers, the federal, the state, and the local government.
It's not that they are not functional. It's just that they are just epileptic. They are just epileptic. That's it. So nobody is monitoring anybody. Even the judiciary, you see, I saw a news in which they said the judiciary misappropriated some money. I think what billions to buy a flyer, See, those are the things. So people who monitor people are themselves.
Okay, let's just dive into another paper, and at this time we'll be going straight to the Nation newspaper, where the front page, the banner headline here says EFCC freezes 3 billion naira traced to Sirika's brother's account. And the subwriter there says ex-minister's civil servant sibling, I beg your pardon, failed to execute 8.06 billion naira contract. Right. Above the nameplate there says Oyo, Kaduna, Cross River to share $540 million AFDB fund. And then you find here also on Edo 2024, above the nameplate as well, 9 PDP aspirants reject delegates elections, 9 polling officials missing, APC prones aspirants to 4. Also, above the nameplate there, at the Nation newspaper, you find that story we shared earlier. Jimmy Sholanke dies at 81. Supply hitches disrupts petrol distribution in Lagos. I hope this is not calling for another kind of strike.
I've actually been seeing queues at filling stations.
Oh yeah, I saw one while coming this morning, and I was asking myself, is this the new way now? All right, sticking with more stories. Federal government offers 2 bonds. And then down below you find forex reforms attracting FDIs. That's from Cardoso, the CBN governor. And the final story here says protest rocks Mina, which is one of the stories that we will be highlighting today on the show. Now, Mr. Lawal, which of these at this point you want to really talk about?
Let's first of all look at that minister. There's an information that the minister's siblings not execute their
8.06 billion naira contract. Now, and it's a civil servant.
The minister, according to the rules and regulations, cannot give contract to his somebody that is close to him, or his relation. That's a part of the rules. You can't give, the moment you are a public office holder, you cannot award contract to your relatives. Now, there's an information coming out on this one now, which I expected in the next 2 days. Full information supposed to have come, and the man, if it is true, to be arrested.
Okay.
That's what I'm hoping for now, because the information has come out. It's a serious thing. You get it? It's a serious thing. It's part of the rules. You cannot award contract to a relation of yours anytime you are in a public office.
All right. Now, my question now will be very direct. 3 billion naira being freezed by EFCC and, of course, traced to Sirika's brother's account. 3 billion naira. That's what's supposed to be for a project that did not happen. Now, at this point, what do you think the people should do? So now I'm talking about the people because in the end, whatever project that the government is doing or is trying to implement is for the benefit of the people. I'm not even talking the ministry, I'm not even streaming down to the ministry itself, but the people. What should the people do at this point, knowing full well that all of these figures keep coming out day in, day out?
What I think the people should do is what the MENA residents are doing. They did, that were dispersed. That is what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
We'll get to it.
Let's quickly get into another paper now. Just going to take the Daily Independent. Banner headline on the Daily Independent reads, Nigeria needs to borrow 21 trillion naira in 2024 to avert bankruptcy. Underneath that one, King Charles III diagnosed with cancer. Basic education. Nigeria experiencing learning crisis. You bet. Tariff hike. Exchange rate volatility destroying our business. Clearing agents. Hard times will soon fade away. First Lady Tinubu. Senate considers review of customs 5 trillion naira targets upwards. That's in the second quarter of the year. AMCOM not planning to liquidate aero contractors. CEO. Climate change. NNPC Limited. US. Deloitte collaborate on greenhouse gas emission reduction from OML 34. And then another very bold headline here. Niger residents protest high cost of living, block roads. LP asks Tinubu to seek help, says condition unmanageable. Police raid kidnappers hideout in FCT, arrest suspect. And when you go on top of the nameplate, we have escalating insecurity. Sergei Ubani called for state police, true federalism. Say current policing structure ineffective. Urge use of drones. Nance flays FG over rising inflation. Threatens street protest. All right. So these are the headlines from the Daily Independent. Unfortunately, we don't have time to respond, so we'll just get on with the conversation. But of course, you do know that we'll be talking about, first off, we'll talk about Senate's desire to increase the target for Nigeria customs from 3 point something billion naira to about 5.079 billion naira revenue target being given to the Nigeria customs. We'll talk about this one when we come back.
What's happening around you? That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need OP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and give Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. And VOP TV. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning...
All right, let's get to it almost immediately. The Senate is considering an upward review of the 5.079 billion naira revenue target of the Nigerian Customs Service from the second half of the year to save the country from further borrowing. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Customs, Issa Jibrin, stated this during a meeting with the Controller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Adewale Adeni, and top management of the agency. Senator Jibrin is emphatic on why revenue-generating agencies must up their game to improve the economy. On the high unemployment rate, Senator Jibrin states that Customs is not the only employer of labor. They can only employ the number they believe they can adequately take care of, and are putting them under pressure to exceed the 1,600 benchmark. Stay with us. Live in the studio is Mr. Lawale Kudai, a public affairs commentator and an educationist, and of course a farmer in the studio right now. At this point, what do you make of the customs position?
I don't even know, because if we say we want to help the customs revenue, what about the other areas? There are so many. We don't need to focus in one aspect only, because this country, when you help it, you are going to collect more taxes from the people. That's why they are saying help. That means you want to collect more taxes from the people, and the people are already groaning.
Okay.
There's poverty already. There's no, but the people who don't have enough, and they still want to collect more from them. So if you collect, if they use it for transport, they will increase their transport fare. Okay. And some other things.
Now, let me quickly chime in here. When this administration came into power, Nigerians were asking the question, if this administration was people-centric or government-centric, in the sense that, was this administration going to make rules and laws that will make life easy for the people, or one that might be a little bit more stringent on the people? And we're beginning to see that apparently it seems like it's going to be a lot more stringent on the people, because taxes are being... Imagine the borrowings that Nigeria has gotten itself into. And now, one way to get cash and avoid avoid borrowing more is to increase taxes. Don't you think that this will have a negative effect on the population, like you rightly pointed out. If as taxes, I mean, if their target is increased from it was 3 billion last year,
Yeah.
3 point something billion naira. It was increased to 5 billion, and now they want to take it up. Is it billion or?
Yes, billion.
Trillion, okay. Because these days, it's not
billion.
billion and trillions. So, and now they want to take it higher again. Now, we already know that for those that import certain things like vehicles, there are other electronics and other things. They might be a lot more expensive. Is this good? Is this good? Will this deter importers? Will this encourage homegrown production of some of these things?
Which
what
we're
are
not doing.
the demerits and merits in this measure as against just getting more money to pay off debts?
That's why I said, like you said earlier, is it people-centered or government-centered? If it is people-centered, you'll be thinking about what the people are saying, how they feel. If it's government-centered, the government will be thinking of how much it wants to generate. And we need more money, we need more money, we need more. Now, we have seen that it is government-centered. It's government-centered. Now, we are saying, people have been saying, cost of governance is very, very high. Reduce cost of governance. The government is not even looking at that area. If you reduce cost of governance, you are going to save billions, hundreds of billions of naira. If you reduce cost of governance. But the government is not looking at that. Even if the customs generate 1 trillion, the expense of the political office holders will increase. So that eventually, what is coming to the society, to the people, we still not appreciate. You know what? Because the government is taking more. The more money that comes in, the more money the government political office holders are taking. So what is left for the people? Are you generating this revenue for the people, or you are generating it to run government? Okay. These are the questions.
You know, one of the reasons the minister gave, he says they need to increase this revenue of the NCS to 6 billion the second quarter of 2024 because they want to curb the issue of borrowing. That was the excuse or reason he gave.
Do you think they can even stop it? They can't. You know, because
Why can't they?
Nigeria cannot stop borrowing because the government, this system of government, of governance, has seen it as a routine. They've seen it as a routine. That is the way I see it.
The budget has there's room for borrowing more money in financing the budget.
If a leader is coming in and is telling you, I'm going to remove subsidy, and he went forward to remove subsidy, why not say we are not going to borrow? You get, and then you didn't borrow.
Don't you think that is going to be a bit difficult to run the government with?
See, Nigeria is very, very rich. That is why you see all these investors coming in and going. If there's no money in Nigeria, they will never come. Because they see that there's money in Nigeria. That's why they are coming to take whatever they want to take and leave.
Is it the money or the population that they are advantaging on?
That is, it's part of the money. If you have 1,000 people in a country and each 1,000 you are taking 100 naira from each person, that is 100,000 naira. If you have 1 million people and you are taking 50 naira from each person, are you not going to be richer than if you have 1,000 people? That is the way. That's the way the businessmen think. Okay. Population wise, if I can just take 1 out of 1 million people, 100 naira out of 1 million people per month, of course I have 100 million naira now. Compared to if I take 1,000 naira from 10,000 people,
they'll feel the impact a lot more.
That's it. So now we have everything. Look at the agricultural sector. It's not developed. We see money disappearing, money they spend, that money going into agriculture and nothing to show for it.
All right, now
look at please, I want to say, look at Inosin. Inosin started manufacturing prepaid meter and they stopped patronizing Inosin. And they decided to go to China to bring prepaid meter to Nigeria. Do you know how many Nigerians will need prepaid meter? And now we are importing it. Inosin started the manufacturing. and they abandon Innocent. Innocent makes vehicle. Lagos State, I remember during the time of Governor Fashola, he had to go to Indonesia to get buses to run BRT. When Fashola Ambode came on board, he went to Brazil to get buses to run BRT. They refused to patronize the indigenous manufacturers. Why? Which is Innocent. We have Volkswagen, we have Peugeot. They abandoned them. They went to Brazil, and almost many states are now running this transit, and yet they are not patronizing the local manufacturers.
What do you think happened to be the reason, for not patronizing?
The reason the governor, Ambode gave them was that it is cheaper to purchase the buses in Brazil. The Innocent one was a bit expensive.
Now, speaking of vehicles, speaking of vehicles now, in that statement, a 3 months window provided for those with illegal imported vehicles to regularize payments of the custom duties is a very significant policy shift that they are, trying to embark on, right? How do you think, how effective, really, do you think this approach will be encouraging compliance and addressing the issue of smuggled vehicles into the country?
Of course, it's going to encourage them more, because now you have opened opportunity for them to regularize it. So you should expect more to come in, and you should expect the company that could manufacture the vehicles in Nigeria to completely collapse.
Okay. All right. Now let's bring John Akirile into this conversation. John is a political affairs enthusiast and a Nigerian in diaspora. John, when you want to speak, we'd like for you to put on your mic, but I've been informed that you might mute it when the conversation is going on in the studio. Now, we're talking about the plan by the Senate to increase customs revenue target as a way of preventing more borrowing in the nation. Well, I'm sure you're privy to the conversation already. Now, how well really will this affect production, local production of some of these things? Let's also bear in mind that some waivers have been proposed, waivers in areas where, like Lawal was talking about, agriculture, waivers for those that are importing agricultural equipment. You're talking about waivers, in that area. But in its totality, how effective will this measure be in curbing or in helping Nigeria sort out its debt crisis? Well, you may put on your mic now to speak. Well, we're not certain. If you can hear us, unfortunately, if you can hear us, do let us know, and then I would like for you to proceed, because at the moment we can't hear you clearly. We can't even hear you at all. All right, so let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back and get John into this conversation proper, because I would so love to hear his take on this. We'll be back in a bit.
Starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning, because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on, from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice. When your morning starts, make sure to look around for the right company to serve you everything you need to know about what's happening around you. That's why you need VOP this morning because we will climb this far to give you a voice in what's going on from news, reviews, politics and the economy, sports and even entertainment. Join us weekdays 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. right here on VOP TV. VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
All right, welcome back. We still have John Akirili with us virtually and Lawale Kundayo with us in the studio. And I've been informed that Mr. Charles Ideho has also joined this conversation. Good to have these three gentlemen with us on this one. But John, I would like to hear your response to the question I asked earlier.
Good morning. I couldn't really pick your question, so I wouldn't mind if you can just recap one more time because there was network glitches.
All right, I'm going to make it as precise and concise as possible. We're talking about the increase in revenue targets for customs. It's been pegged at 5.079 billion naira, and the Senate hopes to take it higher so Nigerians can, so the monies gotten can be used to take care of monies borrowed and prevent Nigeria from borrowing a lot more. How effective do you think this will be, especially on the people and on importation and production, local production as well? I'm summing everything up now.
Moses, without missing words, good morning to I think Moses is so sad when our political leaders make some statement at times. I ask myself, can they listen to themselves and check all of their counterparts in other part of the world? Is that how they are administering governance to the people? When you are giving custom, a target as to how much they should bring in terms of revenue, customs don't manufacture money. It means that they will have to look at their own procedures and how they can inflate those prices. Moses, if you keep doing that, what are customs doing? They are around our borders checking all of those things that are coming into our country. Don't forget that we are import-driven economy. And so when these tariffs go up, it means that the cost of importing raw materials will also go up. Moses, in this country, before, if you buy a Tokumba car from Canada or from America or from Japan, to clear it at the Apapa port there, sometimes 500,000, 400,000, but now it's as far as over 1 million naira to clear a Tokumba used car. And people cannot even afford that Tokumba used car. Why? Because if you add all of the prices together, it's not matching. So what is happening? People are buying Nigerian used car. So what's that telling you? The more custom increase their tariffs, there will be increase in terms of the exchange rate. Our dollar rate is still going on. Now, you go to the office today, they give you a particular rate. You go the next day, you have another rate because of the fluctuation of the foreign exchange. What that will do for you is that there will be people will be discouraged in terms of doing businesses, in terms of bringing in raw materials, and that will also impact on production. That will also it will impact our economic activities greatly, and it will even bring people more into multidimensional poverty. But what I think our senators should do is to reduce drastically the cost of governance. Moses, is a shame that when they talk about these things, they compare themselves with other parts of the world. But in terms of good governance, can they compare themselves with their counterparts in other part of the world? In terms of good policy, can they compare themselves with other counterparts of the world? In terms of salary and allowances, can they compare themselves? In terms of shenanigans that they do, can they compare themselves? And so these are things that I think our leaders should always look at and ask themselves these critical questions. How can we reduce wastages in governance? How can we reduce the cost of governance and maximize productivity? Telling customs to increase their tariff will rather tightening that poverty level that's happening in the country, and people will be forced out of business, and the groaning and the shouting will continue. But let me also remind them that when they were campaigning rigorously for this position. Now that they have the position, I don't think they should bring in more hardship on Nigerians. Why? Because they are forming Nigeria, they renewed hope. But this hope is not renewed. And I think they should look at how they can renew the hope by not killing the masses.
All right, then let's also bring Charles Ideho into this conversation. Charles Ideho is a journalist and also a public affairs commentator. Now, Charles, this measure, one would wonder that some monies have been recovered. Some monies have been, at least over the weekend, EFCC told Nigerians about certain monies coming up to over 70 billion naira that it has recovered, monies that were embezzled. And we also do know that certain monies were borrowed from IMF, especially the one Serap is talking to the president on so that he can look into. Now, certain monies have been borrowed, but then the monies were not even used. So now, if we're increasing tariff, increasing target, increasing taxes to help sort out monies borrowed that were not used for the things that they were borrowed for, where actually does that even put the economy and the common man in Nigeria? Charles?
Well, okay, first, good morning one more time. Thank you to John. Thank you to whoever is part of this broadcast this morning. I want to say that, excuse me, listen. In most cases, I feel like shedding tears when I hear policies like this. I hear legislations such as this. It's quite infantile. I have a reason for saying so. That people we have charged with the responsibility of making laws for the good of this country, they seem not to understand the vicious cycle they put us in when they come up with such infantile legislation, if you will. I call it infantile because they seem not to understand the multiplier effect this is going to cause to the everyday people. Now, like Akirile said, let's look at it again. Number one, let's look at what's the business of custom. Business of custom is to charge import duties and then excise duty. Two things. Excise duty is charged on locally produced materials and then some of it to also export. And then import duties are, of course, as the name suggests, whatever you bring in from abroad. Now, Nigerians hardly produce anything that we use locally. Most of the, if I'm not mistaken, I think over 70% of our daily needs are brought in from abroad through importation, China and the rest of the world. Okay, now you want to increase the tariffs or the import duties on those goods that have helped Nigerians to remain alive so far. So what it means is that what you are saying, they're telling customs that to charge Nigerians more money. That's what it means. Okay. Now, when you import these products and then you now increase the tariffs, the person who brought in product will also make profit. So he will take those products, he will take the charges that have been billed by the custom back straight to the end user, which is you, myself, John, and whoever is part of this broadcast. So it doesn't make any sense. So that we are even producing here that is even insufficient, you want to kill the local industries by also increasing the excise duty. Where does it leave us? It leaves in the economy even more stressed. It will leave the economy even more distressed. It leaves the everyday people more impoverished. So for me, I think it is quite sad that people we thought they are educated, they should know some of these economic 101 issues. They don't know most of these economic 101 issues. And look at the people we have put our common destiny in their hands. We have put even our collective destiny in the hands of people who don't even know that increasing excise duty, we punish the everyday people. Increasing the import duty, the goods and services that people use in Nigeria, we punish the everyday people. And yet they said they are representing the same people that they want to punish. So for me, it's quite sad. Then to go to about the money recovery, and Moses, you are a journalist. Did you ever read in the papers, even during Buhari's 8 years, the money recovery, what they were meant for, what they were spent to? Can you point to the road that those funds were channeled to? They were all brought in and relooted. So now this same government we have now, they've already started their own. We don't know when it's going to, how much it's going to be, how much they're going to be recovering. But the reason why you never see all this money being churned into some is that when they are brought in, you are giving figures are banded. Even these figures are banded are not even the true picture of what have been brought in. Most cases, the money they also find themselves into the pocket of those who did not benefit from the past government. I mean, it's a vicious circle. Moses, so there's nothing to share about here at all. I'm sorry to say, I'm not here to dash anybody's soul. But right. There doesn't seem to be anything to care about.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. Mr. Charles, I beg your pardon. I'm still going to stay with you right now. My question to you would be, Nigeria is an import-driven economy, like we've all agreed.
Yes.
If all of this new measures to wanting the customs to increase revenue impacts on every single importer, how do you think and what do you think the Nigerian people should do at this time, knowing full well that this simply means that if you buy a single pack of toothpick before, say for 500 naira, you most likely might be getting it for 1,500. What do you think the Nigerian populace should do at this time?
Well, probably to protest, because that's the only, so that they can register their grievances to the government. Because nobody is protesting. That's why the government thinks that nothing is happening, because the government, all of them over there, they sit in Abuja, they sit in Lausa, they sit in Benin City, or whatever. I mean, your own state governor, I don't know where you're from. They all sit in their own pretty houses. Government has. Say what?
My governor is new.
Say it again.
My governor is new.
What state is that?
The Labour Party governor, the only Labour Party governor so far.
Okay, Abia State, the God's own state, God's own state. So, well, I don't know how much God is doing in Abia State. They said that's the only God's own state we have. But Oti, without necessarily negating, Oti has done well so far. He has done well so far, particularly the focus on Ababa and the industries there. We are hoping that. If he increases his tempo that he has started, I'm sure Abba is going to be, we're going to be having the re-engineering of Abba that used to be the Taiwan of this. The thing is this. Now, if you have an economy that is import-driven, as you rightly said, it means that the people are using this import to survive, because there's no alternative. What government usually does is this. What any government usually does is that when you increase the import tariffs or duties, then what you need to do is that you reduce the excise duty. So you increase the import in order to encourage local production. So when people know that when they go import those goods, very very expensive, but the excise duty and then the local production, the duties have been reduced, people will now be encouraged to go into local production. For instance, the toothpick you mentioned now, the toothpick is about 500 naira to buy toothpicks. You know that if you produce it locally, it's going to cost you 200 naira. People will say, oh, it's selling more. Then more people will go into local production. So that you begin to redirect focus from the imported products. But you can't do that if you don't do something about the power, because people will need power to generate their machinery. We need power to source for some of this locally. So all these things, that's exactly how government works. If you increase the import duty, is in order to encourage local production, so that you can discourage flooding your market with imported things that you can source locally, can produce locally. But this government doesn't seem to be as creative as that, because I said most of them over there, they know nothing about economics 101.
All right, then. Lawal, what's your concluding thoughts on this one? Do you think this will in any way help local production?
Of course not. It's not going to help local production, because like it says, you have given, like the manufacturer, the people who brought, who's going to a small good. They even use the word small good. They use the word small good, not import. They use the word small good. So when you smuggle it in, they will now give you a window to be able to regularize what you have smuggled in. You get that sounds very, 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 very irresponsible.
But what about the waiver that was placed on, the agricultural equipment for the people? They said you can import in things that you can use to
certain
things to use in the agricultural sector.
The problem with agriculture, you get it, in Nigeria is that ministry is an avenue to siphon, to embezzle money. Because that ministry, for many years, even during the time of the whole 8 years of former President Buhari, spent so much money even on cattle rearing, so what do we see? What can we show for it? And nobody's going after that ministry.
So are you saying the ministry should have a collaborative effort with the custom agency so that there can be a proper...
Normally, there has to be synergy among all the ministries now. They all work together. The road and everything. If you want, like this agriculture, Nigeria is so blessed. Even Lagos State, the revenue from fishing industry in Lagos State, and we are going to aquaculture in Lagos State alone, can settle half of the debt of Nigeria. Yes, because Lagos State, the water we have in Lagos State, most of this country we are importing fish from them don't have that resources, and yet Lagos State is busy sand-filling and destroying all this.
All right then.
So what I want to say is that, like he said, that local industry, you have to subsidize the local industry. You must subsidize. If you subsidize, that is when it can grow. And when you now produce locally, you can now export it. You get it and get foreign exchange. That is what China is doing. That's why when China produce and they sell it to another country, it's always cheaper, because in China the government is subsidizing local production. So that it is so cheap that what the target of the government is three things: grow the industry, employ people, and get foreign exchange. The government is not really thinking of getting money from the local industry, but from getting foreign exchange, so that when you export, that is where they are going to rake in so much money. In fact, they will ruin your own industry, because they will produce cheap product for you. Your own industry will be so that you will not depend on them, and then you will not be raking money from your industry.
All right, like what's going on in Kenya right now. Yeah. Oh well, big thanks to you gentlemen. We'll have to move away from this topic now. Interestingly, over the weekend up until now, we had a great collapse. We've not had power, and we're talking about
over 3 months now. We are seeing over a week.
No, the national grid was just
the local industries having power to produce. Interesting times indeed.
Yeah.
Oh well, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at the protest now. Charles did say something about protesting, registering our displeasure. Well, in Niger State, in Minna, actually the state capital, residents protested yesterday. We'll look at that one and talk more when we come back after this break.